Thomas and Friends, making tracks to great destinations.
The island of Sodor is surrounded by beautiful blue sea. It has fields of green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams, and lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks where visitors to the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas. Hello, Thomas. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the island of Sodor.
Thomas's trusty friends. Thomas was taking his friend Ned to the old brickworks. Ned was excited.
Today I get to demolish, called Ned.
Demolish, Chef Thomas?
Knock buildings down.
Cried Ned cheerfully. Thomas thought it strange that his friends were always excited about knocking buildings down. Miss Jenny had shown the foreman the demolition plans. "It's time to go to work," she said. "And remember..."
Safety first,
cried Ned and Oliver.
Oh boy, said Ned. I can't wait to knock this building down.
"Oh my, Ned, you're not here to demolish," rattled Oliver. "You're supposed to scoop up the rubble." Ned was disappointed. He really wanted to knock buildings down. Ned was usually in trouble for breaking things, but today it wouldn't matter. Soon, Oliver was fitted with a wrecking ball. "Knock this wall down first," the foreman called. "Stand back, if you please," called Oliver. Said Oliver. The wall didn't fall down. Oliver swung his wrecking ball as hard as he could. The wall still didn't fall down. "We need a bigger wrecking ball," cried the foreman. In no time, Oliver was fitted with a bigger wrecking ball. But still, the wall didn't fall down.
Can I help?
Ned asked hopefully. "No," said the foreman. "This is Oliver's job." Ned was sad. "This is the strongest wall I've ever seen," said Oliver's operator. Then the foreman checked the wall again. "We'll send for an even bigger wrecking ball," he said. Ned had gone back to loading rubble into Thomas's freight cars, but his heart wasn't in it. "Ned," shouted Thomas, "the rubble goes in the freight cars."
Sorry,
said Ned. He was dreaming of knocking buildings down. Finally, Oliver was fitted with the biggest wrecking ball he had ever lifted. He aimed very carefully, and he swung with all his might. But the wall didn't fall down. "Oh, bother," said Oliver. "This building will never come down," groaned his operator. Ned was still dreaming of knocking buildings down and wasn't watching where he was going. "Look out!" cried his operator, but it was too late. The chimney rocked. The bricks crumbled. The workmen and the foreman took cover. Oliver and Thomas watched in amazement. "Oops," said Ned. "Hooray!" cheered the workmen. "Ouch," said Oliver. "Oh! Oh!" Oliver was dirty and dented. And Thomas's freight cars were full. "Bust my buffers," cried Thomas. "I'm loaded." "I did it! I did it!" cried Ned proudly. "Smashed to smithereens," he steamed. "Do you want me to break anything else?" "Ow!" "No," sighed Oliver. "I think you've done enough for one day." Alfie Has Kittens. It was a beautiful day on the island of Sodor. Thomas was bringing his friend Alfie to a demolition site. "Hello, Thomas," rattled Jack. "Hello, Jack," puffed Thomas. "I guess everyone likes demolition," said Thomas. "I love demolition," said Alfie. "It's when we get to knock buildings down." "That's supposed to be fun?" asked Thomas. "The best fun," cried Alfie, and he swooped down the ramp. "Look out, small fry," boomed Max. "I'm not a small fry," said Alfie crossly. He didn't like being teased about his size. But later that morning, Alfie was happy that the foreman had sent him to work with Ned. Ned wouldn't make him feel small. But as Alfie pulled up, Ned swung his bucket. "Watch out!" cried Alfie. "Sorry," said Ned. "I didn't see you. You're smaller than you look." This made Alfie feel even smaller. Later, Alfie was working hard. "Hurry up, half-pint," teased Monty. "Not half-pint," greased Max. "It's small fry." Alfie was upset. At the workman's coffee break, Thomas could see that Alfie was unhappy. "What's wrong?" he asked. "I don't like being small," complained Alfie. "As long as you're useful," said Thomas helpfully. "It doesn't matter what size you are." Alfie thought about this for a moment. "Break's over," shouted Kelly. "Back to work." That afternoon, Alfie was determined to be really useful. He was helping Oliver demolish a building. Oliver's giant scissor claw grabbed the top of the wall. "Stop!" cried Alfie. "I can hear something." Everyone stopped work. But no one could hear a thing. "I already checked inside," said the foreman. "Small fry is hearing things," sneered Max. "I did hear something. I really did." The foreman looked inside again, and he was surprised. "There's a mother cat in here, and she's got kittens." "We must rescue them," said Alfie. "The building isn't safe," said the foreman. "I can't send my men in there." "I'll go," said Alfie bravely. "I'm small enough to fit in." In no time, Alfie wriggled inside. The building creaked and plaster flew. Alfie held up his scoop for the cat and kittens to jump in. Here, kitty, kitty, Alfie coaxed. But the cat and kittens didn't move. Suddenly, the upper wall started to crumble. Hurry, kitty, kitty, Alfie cried. But it was too late. Quick as a wink, Alfie covered the cat and the kittens with his scoop. And just in time. Meow, said the cat. Meow, meow, said the kittens. Phew, said Alfie. The cat and kittens were safe. Well done, said Miss Jenny. It's a fine family of kittens. I couldn't have rescued them if I'd been any bigger, said Alfie. You may be small, said Kelly, but you got a big heart. And a really useful scoop, said Thomas. Alfie was proud, and he never complained about being small again. A tale for Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt had a special for Thomas.
You're to take 2 of Miss Jenny's machines to Maithwaite Forest. They're repairing the lightning tree.
Yes, sir, said Thomas. Jack and Alfie were excited. They couldn't wait to see the lightning tree. Why is it called the lightning tree? Asked Thomas. It was struck by lightning, said Jack. It's a very old and rare and special tree, added Miss Jenny, which is why we need to repair it. But how will we know which one it is? Asked Alfie. You'll know, Kelly laughed. It's the biggest tree in the forest. We need to prop it up before it falls over, said Miss Jenny. So be careful, all of you, and remember, safety first, Jack and Alfie called. Jack and Alfie made their way through the forest. Look, gasped Alfie. The lightning tree, cried Jack. The foreman had inspected the damage. Roots were pulled up. The lightning scar was long and deep. The tree looked like it would soon topple over. Jack and Alfie approached very slowly. They had remembered what Miss Jenny said about being careful. But Max and Monty were racing recklessly through the forest. Look out, cried Alfie. You'll hit the tree, shouted Jack. But it was too late. Max crashed into Monty, and Monty crashed into the lightning tree. Who put that there? Grumbled Monty. The tree's falling down, shouted Jack. Not my fault, called Max. We must save it, cried Alfie. Help, Jack! I'm coming, called Jack. Move aside, little fella, said Oliver. Oliver braced his mighty arm against the tree, but the tree was too heavy. Kelly, shouted Jack, we need more help. Before long, Kelly was helping too. The 3 of them struggled to hold the tree upright. Get the props, called Kelly's operator. Jack raced off to get the props from Thomas. The machines strained to hold up the tree, but they were getting very tired. Soon the prop trolley had been attached to Jack, and he was on his way. Thomas hoped Jack would get to the lightning tree in time. Jack went as fast as his wheels would carry him. Alfie pushed and pushed until his arm ached. I don't think I can hold this much longer, groaned Oliver. But Jack raced up just in time. The workmen soon attached the props. The lightning tree was safe. Hooray! Groaned Alfie. Miss Jenny was pleased. A terrific job, she said. The lightning tree is saved. Kelly, Oliver, Jack, and Alfie were proud. But no thanks to you two, she said to Monty and Max. You'll return to the yacht immediately. Max and Monty were ashamed. They knew they were in trouble. Later, Thomas was taking Alfie and Jack back to Miss Jenny's. Look, cried Alfie. You can see it from here, called Jack. It was the lightning tree. Thomas was glad it was saved.
Thomas has so many friends, some fast, some tall, some slow, some green, some blue, some red, some square. Let's see which ones you know. There's Bertie the bus on his way to school. The children are friends too. For Trevor the tractor and Harvey the crane, there's always work to do. And who's flying by? Why, it's Harold the helicopter way up in the air. Elizabeth the lorry driving along, going to who knows where. All of our friends are there. Old friends, new friends, real friends, true friends, we're so glad to be. Work friends, play friends, night and day friends, one friendly family. Where there's building to do, we've got friends there who have many tales to tell. There's Alfie and Jack, those two little friends who Thomas knows so well. And Cranky the crane with his head in the sky, who can he see down there? It's Byron the bulldozer, Buster the steamroller, both working as a pair. Yes, all of our friends are there. Old friends, new friends, real friends, true friends, we're so glad to be. Work friends, play friends, night and day friends, one friendly family. Thomas has some special friends, you can't forget their names. Percy, Edward, Gordon, Emily, Henry, Toby, James. Old friends, new friends, real friends, true friends, we're so glad to be. Work friends, play friends, night and day friends, one friendly family. Old friends, new friends, real friends, true friends, we're so glad to be. Work friends, play friends, night and day friends, one friendly family.
Percy Helps Out. It was summer on the island of Sodor. Percy enjoyed working in the sunshine, and he liked being able to say hello to his friends. Hello, Nelson, Percy called. Nelson was so busy he barely had time to honk back. He was carrying machines everywhere, from the yard to the sites, and then all the way home. Day after day, Nelson was carrying, until his axles ached. Just once, he thought to himself, I'd like to be carried. That night, Nelson had a dream. He dreamt he was sailing through the countryside. The breeze was blowing, he was enjoying himself, and he realized he was being carried. The next morning, Miss Jenny woke Nelson from his dream. Thomas has had an accident at Maithwaite Crossing, said Miss Jenny. Sir Topham Hatt needs you to take him to the repair yard. Nelson hoped his friend Thomas was all right. When Nelson arrived, he saw Thomas had come off the rails and broken a wheel. "Thank you for coming," chuffed Thomas cheerfully. "We'll get you back in no time," replied Nelson. Nelson had to be very careful. He'd never carried a steam engine before. Thomas's driver and Nelson's operator set to work at once. Nelson struggled as he winched Thomas aboard. "Whoa, you're heavier than a bulldozer and a steamroller put together," Nelson exclaimed. Thomas was surprised. "I'm only a tank engine," he said. Soon Nelson was on his way, but Thomas was heavy. Nelson had to work very hard. He puffed, he panted, he pulled. Soon they were making excellent time. Thomas was impressed. "You're a very good carrier," said Thomas. "Thank you," said Nelson. "I pull freight cars and passenger cars all day long," added Thomas. "It's good to be carried for a change." "I'd like to be carried sometime," said Nelson. "But who would be big enough to carry me?" Soon they arrived at the repair yard. "Well done," said Sir Topham Hatt. "You are a really useful truck." Nelson was tired, but he felt very proud. "You can leave Thomas on the low loader," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Miss Jenny needs you back at the yards immediately." "Yes, sir," said Nelson. "I'll drive as fast as I can." "That won't be necessary," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I'm taking you," cried Percy. Nelson could not believe what he had heard. Soon, Nelson was aboard Percy's low loader, and with a shout of, "Thank you, everyone," they were off. Percy was giving Nelson a splendid ride. It was as magical as he had dreamed. The sky was blue, the trees were green. All Nelson had to do was look and listen as the beautiful Sodor countryside rolled peacefully by. "What an excellent day," said Nelson cheerfully. Percy was happy. His friend was enjoying himself. The Tortoise and the Hare. Buster the Steamroller loves the feeling of speed, the sun on his back and the wind on his rollers. "Don't fall asleep," chuffed Thomas. "I'm thinking," said Buster. But he wasn't. He was dreaming about what it would feel like to win a race. Thomas had brought Buster to the Sodor Auto Racetrack, where his friends were working. They were going to finish the track today. It was a responsible job. The track had to be made safe. Buster flattened the track around the final bend. He was still dreaming about winning a race. And the winner is Buster, the fastest steamroller in the world. "Vroom, vroom," Buster cried. "You think you're fast?" teased Monty. "If you were going any slower, you'd be going backwards," teased Max. But Buster paid no attention. He was having too much fun. Finally, the work was finished, and Miss Jenny came to inspect the site. "You're a good crew," said Miss Jenny. but the track still needs testing.
Can I test it, Miss Jenny?
Asked Buster. I'm the fastest steamroller in the world.
More like the slowest,
Snickered Max. Monty snickered too. Perhaps all three of you should test it, said Miss Jenny. The foreman will give you the all clear, but remember, no speeding. Of course not, said Monty. But Max and Monty knew they were going to go as fast as they could. They waited for the foreman to give the all clear signal.
I'm ready,
cried Buster.
You couldn't beat a snail, said Max. Not even a sleepy snail, added Monty.
The foreman raised his flag. Max and Monty were speeding away.
You jumped the signal,
Grumbled Monty.
Did not, snapped Max.
Buster trundled happily down the track as fast as his rollers would carry him, which wasn't very fast at all. Monty was so cross, he bumped Max.
Ow, cried Max, you dented me. You're in the way, snapped Monty.
Max was still cross with Monty. He decided to bump him back. Before they knew it, they skidded off the track and into a ditch. Said the bull. Ooh, said Monty and Max, and they struggled out of the ditch. They were speeding towards the finish. Monty and Max sped down the track, but Buster was trundling towards the finish. Go, Buster! Cheered his friends.
No, said Monty. It can't be, said Max.
But it was too late. Buster chuffed and puffed across the finish line. When Max and Monty crossed the line, they were still arguing.
I came second, cried Max. Third, snapped Monty.
You won, Buster, said Jack.
And I wasn't even speeding, he said.
When Thomas came to collect Buster, he was pleased. I brought a steamroller, he said, but I'm taking a champion back. And he helped prove the track is safe without speeding, added Miss Jenny. Buster was proud. Vroom, vroom, he said as Thomas chuffed past Monty and Max.
I did come second, said Max. Third, snapped Monty.
Thomas and the Moles. There had been a big storm on the island of Sodor. Trees were down and fences had been blown over. Kelly and Isabella had been clearing fallen trees since the crack of dawn. Ned and Max were helping remove a landslide. And Nelson and Oliver were on their way to clear Henry's tunnel. Sir Topham Hatt sent Thomas to take his friends to the soccer field. We must leave immediately, said Miss Jenny. The car park is covered with fallen trees. Tomorrow is the big game, said Thomas.
We'll have to move the trees today, clattered Jack.
You could rely on us, Steam Buster. I'm sorry, Buster, said Miss Jenny kindly, but this is a job for lifters, pushers, and haulers. Buster was sad. Buster watched as everyone left.
Everyone's got a job but me,
he said. Thomas knew his friend Buster was unhappy. Nobody likes to be left out. At the soccer field, everyone was working very hard clearing up the fallen trees. Thomas could see there was lots to do, but nothing for his friend Buster. Buster was upset.
It's not fair, he puffed. I want to help too.
The work had gone very well. They were almost finished when Isabella arrived with the new goalposts. Then Miss Jenny went onto the soccer field. "Oh, my goodness," she cried. "Molehills!" Miss Jenny would need Buster after all. Thomas returned to the yards as fast as he could. "Buster, I've come to take you to the soccer field," he chuffed cheerfully. "Miss Jenny needs you urgently." Buster was so excited he thought his boiler would burst. Yay! He was very happy. There was nothing better than being needed urgently. Soon, they arrived at the soccer field. After Buster was unloaded, he was amazed by what he saw. "Molehills!" he cried excitedly. "Hundreds of them! It looks like a giant chocolate chip cookie, only green." This was the moment he had been waiting for. Buster clanked and sputtered and flattened and smoothed. Even the moles who had hurried to the sideline stayed to watch. "He's good, very good." His smoke was blowing, his steam was white and feathery. "We'll do it again." In no time at all, the soccer field was flat again. "Well done," said the coach. "The game can start right on time," said Isabella. Everyone congratulated Buster, but Miss Jenny gave him the nicest praise of all. She told him simply that he'd been really useful. Buster was proud. And all the way home, Thomas could see that Buster was happy. It's a grand thing to be really useful.
He's the cheeky one.
James!
His fame, but lots of fun.
Percy!
Pulls a mail on time.
Gordon!
Thunders down the line.
Emily!
Really knows her stuff.
Henry!
Toots and huffs and puffs.
Edward!
Wants to help and share.
Toby! Well, let's say he's square. They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8. Shunting trucks and